Da 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 dee 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 da 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 dee da 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 dee stop. Don't you copyright me? Nailyah Serenity. That's me.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nailyah Serenity. Come sit with me today. Now I don't know if y'all could tell, but I'm outside. So if you hear a lot of craziness in the background, we're just gonna ignore that, okay? Because the world doesn't stop for a YouTube video. Amen? Amen. So today we are here with a very requested video. We are going to talk about elevated versus unelevated signs. Today we are hitting on our water signs, all our water energies, our nice feminine energies, our emotional energies. Let's see what you look like when you're elevated versus when you're not elevated. So first of all, we switch in vibrations every single day, okay? We are always gonna be high vibrational every single day. We may be higher than others. If we naturally operate in a high vibration, we may be higher than others, but that doesn't mean that we are necessarily at our best every single day. So let's get that straight. Honestly, you can apply this to any placement where these signs reside. So Venus, Mars, Moon, all that good stuff, because it's still the same energy. It's just placed differently. So we're gonna start off with Cancer. Cancer is the first water sign. Cancer is the mama of the zodiac. Cancer is the ocean. Cancer represents water, obviously. It's the first water sign, so it represents the water. And what does the ocean do? It pulls, it pulls, it pulls you in, it pulls you in, it pulls you in, okay? It's very hypnotizing. All water signs are. Now granted, we love the ocean. We love being at the shore, being at the surface, and, looking at its beauty. But the further we go into the ocean, the deeper we go into the ocean, at some point, you ain't gonna be able to get out. At some point, you're gonna get swept up because the tide is gonna be pulling you towards them, and now you're in their control. You're in the ocean's control. I don't care how great of a swimmer you are. Something about if you get a little too deep and that tide is a little high, baby, the ocean is taking you with them, okay? So, think about this with the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a sign that isn't afraid of emotions. They do not care about being moody. They don't care about affecting other people's energy with their emotions, or at least an unelevated Cancer won't. You'll know that you are not operating at your best, Cancer, when you nurture people to the point where it's become smothering, where you pull people in for your own needs. Like people who have Cancer, if you research about Cancer, Cancer is like a cell that keeps growing. It won't stop. It becomes too much. And an unelevated Cancer becomes too much because it rules over the emotions. Cancers have the ability to manipulate how others feel. And whether they know this or they don't, the way that they project their emotions affects the room around them. An unelevated Cancer puts themselves on a pedestal, okay? You have to remember the opposite of Cancer is Capricorn. Capricorn is the 10th house. It's the tippity top. It's the peak. So that is your shadow self. And the unelevated Cancer will put themselves on a pedestal to where they subconsciously feel like their needs are way more important than other people's, but will play a situation out to make it seem like all they're doing is caring for other people, when in reality they need validation, they need recognition, they need applause. An unelevated Cancer is tit for tat. An unelevated Cancer is too delved into their materialistic Capricorn shadow self, meaning that they'll do something for you and expect you to do something for them. An unelevated Cancer will make you feel like you don't want no gifts from them. You don't want to hug. You don't want to feel comforted by their energy in any way, because you know that it's not true. And the crazy thing is, a Cancer, because they rule over emotions, a Cancer will make you feel like it's coming from their heart, when in reality, it's an opportunity. Opposite Capricorn, it's an opportunity. An unelevated Cancer will be so insecure that they feel that the only way they can get others to do for them is by doing for others, which puts them in this whole little woe is me phase of, oh my gosh, I care so much for other people, I do so much for other people, I'm such a giver, I'm such a this, I'm such a that. You gotta remember, Cancer is right beside the sign of Leo, so Leo and Gemini, so they're a little messy, and they also think really, really highly of themselves. So remember, we're talking about the unelevated now. This is the lower aspect of Cancer. So it's, I will provide for you, I will give this to you, I will do this for you, and the minute I want you to bend your back for me, if you don't jump, it's an issue. I won't even just call you unelevated Cancers. Cancers who are not operating at their highest vibration at the time. You know you're not when you are being tit for tat, when you expect people to roll out the red carpet for you because of things that you've decided to do for people. Because it means that you aren't actually using your nurturing power, your big heart, and your ability to empathize to actually help someone. Because you felt like this person needed something. You were doing it for yourself. For in the future, what this person owes me now. Tit for tat, Cancer. It's not a good thing. The emotional attack that an unelevated Cancer can have on you can be so vicious. Can be so vicious, especially with like Cancer men and like relationships. Even Cancer women, we're not excusing y'all, but it can be so vicious. And the underbelly is that you kind of know what you're doing too. You know how you're making this person feel. You can feel it. You're a Cancer. You feel it to the point where it becomes abusive. Like Cancer, an unelevated Cancer can be like a mommy dearest. Now, an elevated Cancer is going to do the work for themselves and not rely on other people's emotions to determine their worth. They're not going to rely on their ability, their witchery ability, because they know they got it. They play with witchery. They play with spiritualism. That's why Cancers are witches, all of them, men and women. An elevated Cancer is going to know their power and understand that people do not owe them things. They're going to understand when to nurture and when to pull back. They're going to understand that they do have, that their shadow self, their dark side is having a tendency to pull and pull and pull and pull and pull. An elevated Cancer is going to be emotional. That is what you're supposed to be. But an elevated Cancer isn't going to use emotion as a weapon. An elevated Cancer is actually going to be pretty independent. And it's going to naturally attract people who want to do for them. If someone wanted to start a gang or like a circus or something like that, they're going to go to people who are less privileged. They're going to go to people who don't have guidance and who need somebody to look up to. And they're going to create this group of people who basically worship them and see them as the top dog. You get what I'm saying? That's the energy of an unelevated Cancer. They're going to seek people out who are broken. Okay, who's dying? Anywho, they're gonna seek people out who are broken and who need someone to look up to. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to and use them to their benefit. An elevated Cancer attracts people who can help them. An elevated Cancer attracts people who are just as strong, who are just as intuitive. An elevated Cancer has grown enough to understand that what cockiness is, and what arrogance is, and what entitlement is. Beautiful, beautiful person. They're gonna be there when you need them, and they're gonna back off when they need to back off. An elevated Cancer takes accountability for their actions and doesn't blame their emotions on other people. Somebody get your dog. It's a bee. It's a bee. Okay, he over there on the flowers. I'm gonna leave that bee alone. Just don't come over here, please. Damn. This is why we don't film outside. This is ghetto. Fun news, guys. We're inside now. The dogs was barking. It was construction happening. It was too much going on. The bees were starting to do too much. So we're in civilization. Anywho, unelevated Scorpios. So, like I said, Scorpios operate in dark energy. Scorpios thrive off of negative energy, which is a good thing because we need one of those signs. We need someone who is able to penetrate into the negative energy without getting swayed off by all the darkness and all the negativity. We need someone who is able to go into the trenches, get to the root of what is going on, to the rawest nature of what is going on, and get power off of that, build off of that. You know what I'm saying? We need someone who can sift out the bull crap and point to what's real, to the root of the problem, to the root of the issue, okay? That is what elevated Scorpios do. They use their ability to operate and maneuver well in negative energy to create something up out of it that turns into a positive, okay? They get down to the nitty-gritty to turn something into a positive. Or, I won't even say turn something into a positive. That's kind of, to purify, right? You gotta get the gunk out to purify. That is what elevated Scorpios do. Now, an unelevated Scorpio doesn't have the desire to necessarily purify. They just like the negativity. An unelevated Scorpio feels unworthy of love to the point where they can fool themselves and think that they don't want to be liked. They don't want to be loved. They want to be that bitch. They want to be the person that people fear. So power hungry that they're willing to sacrifice healthy relationships for power because they operate in negativity. They'll use that. That's what they do. Since they understand that no one else can thrive here like how they can, that's where they feel the most powerful. That is where they will be. That is where they reside, and they'll create mess everywhere and be so quiet about it. That is how unelevated Scorpios operate. And it's honestly sad. Unelevated Scorpios are very, very miserable and feel very misunderstood and are hurt to the point where all they want to do is create misery in other people's lives. Then you also have elevated Scorpios who want love but are so insecure about getting it. There's unelevated Scorpios are so insecure with themselves that they feel like they have to use other people to get what they want. That works in some cases, even with elevated Scorpios, but meaning like they feel like they have to manipulate situations in order to come out on top. They feel like when it comes to love, they have to manipulate their partner into loving them. They have to hold this power, play these games, because it's like a subconscious feeling that if I just allow, then all the things that I desire will never happen. An unelevated Scorpio is just extraordinarily insecure. I mean, any unelevated sign is. But security is the word. A Scorpio has to connect to God so that they will have some kind of peace with understanding that things don't happen and don't not happen because of you. Because what is will be. Scorpios have to connect to their Taurus energy. An unelevated Scorpio will destroy any other partnership that isn't the partnership that they have with someone else. Meaning that if you are a friend of a Scorpio, of an unelevated Scorpio, or a lover of an unelevated Scorpio, they will do their best to isolate you or to manipulate you enough so that you feel and believe that they are the only ones for you, so that there's not a possibility that you will leave them. An unelevated Scorpio has serious abandonment issues because so many people have left them in the cold, or because they've fallen in love so easily before, or dedicated so much of their energy to something before and it was just like put to waste, just swept from under them, that they had no control of grasping onto. The thing about unelevated signs, period, is that you have to experience your energy, your sign's vibration at one of its lowest peaks to truly understand how to operate in its highest. Scorpios go through that a lot. Scorpios are always going to go through the up and down and up and down and up and down, because Scorpio is a sign of extremes. So they're going to experience the highest of the high and the lowest of the lows. But the thing about an elevated Scorpio is an elevated Scorpio chooses not to go back to their unelevated state. An elevated Scorpio chooses to change. It's a fixed sign, so no one else is going to make them change but them. An elevated Scorpio chooses to go on a self-care journey, and not just a self-care journey because like I've been hurt so I'm just not dealing with people anymore, but as soon as I find somebody I want to deal with, I'm gonna go to you. Like, no, they choose to actually go on a self-care journey and understand themselves and really delve into themselves and understand where their hurts lie, why they do certain things. An elevated Scorpio is willing to say that they were wrong. An elevated Scorpio knows their power and knows their magnetism enough to know that whatever they attract is a reflection of them, and not something that needs to be attacked, not something that needs to be curated by them. An elevated Scorpio is going to be so intentional about their vibration and so intentional about their intent that they know that any and everything that comes to them that they allow in their space is something that is supposed to be there, or something that isn't supposed to be there. The elevated Scorpio is so in tune with themselves that they are able to look at themselves and be like, how the fuck did I attract this? Like, I thought we were good, but why is this still here? And are able to delve into the negative energy within themselves to elevate. An elevated Scorpio doesn't push their issues onto other people. An elevated Scorpio doesn't make their insecurities and their abandonment issues someone else's problem. An elevated Scorpio knows when they are fucked up right now. When this is just not the time to be dealing with me because I got a lot of ish going on, and I know if you in my pool, all I'm gonna do is treat you bad. And you gonna feel like I'm treating you right because that's my power. I can treat you like and make you feel like I am giving you the world at the same damn time. So just back up and let me do me for a second, because you can't help me with none of this right now. An elevated Scorpio utilizes people and makes people realize their power, makes people realize where they lack, because they had to realize where they lack. Elevated Scorpio will destroy you, not for the satisfaction of destroying you, but because what you built wasn't stable. So they're gonna destroy it so that you can start again and do it right, with the intention that they know that you will start again and do it right. An elevated Scorpio will reveal to you your truth, not because they get a kick out of it, which they will, but not just because they get a kick out of it, not just because they know that it's something you've never saw before and it'll make you insecure, but because you needed to know, because they were called to tell you something. An elevated Scorpio understands that not everyone is true, but also understands that not everyone knows how to be true. Ooh, if you have an elevated Scorpio in your life, honey, that's a nice feeling right there. It's a powerful motherfucker. Beautiful motherfucker right there. So let's move on to Pisces. Pisces are a mutable water sign. The last sign of the zodiac, number 12. An unelevated Pisces. An unelevated Pisces finds comfort in being nothing. An unelevated Pisces finds comfort in not having control, because that relieves them of responsibility. Responsibility for their life, responsibility for their health, responsibility for other people, responsibility, period. Because if I'm the victim, if I am the vessel, if I am the messenger, all bets are off. There's nothing that can point back to me as the problem. An unelevated Pisces refuses to recognize that they are a part of this earth, and refuses to recognize that there are some things that have to be done, and instead chooses to operate in their own world despite what's happening around them, which honestly, they're right next to Aries, is selfish. Instead of connecting and merging your spirituality with your reality, an unelevated Pisces will escape. You know, drugs, alcohol, people, sex, relationships, any addiction you could have, any escape you could have. An unelevated Pisces will do it. An unelevated Pisces, because they won't take responsibility, they will bring you down with them. If a Pisces is a drug addict, for example, and they meet you and they fall in love with you, like I said, it's selfish. They meet you, they fall in love, but they know they ain't right. But it doesn't matter, because I love you. It's the feelings. An unelevated Pisces puts their feelings before anything. They will put the responsibility on you to help them not be a drug addict if they were trying to stop. You will be the Pisces saving grace. You will be the reason why the Pisces isn't clean. Putting all the responsibility on you becomes very toxic. All unelevated water signs are attracted to toxicity in that way, because it's emotional. But an unelevated Pisces will put all that responsibility on you and make it so beautiful too. The love will be really, really fun, but it'll be so attached. An unelevated Pisces just merges with people because they don't identify as themselves. And this is just an example. An unelevated Pisces will take you down with them. They will make you a drug addict as well. They want to take you on this roller coaster ride that they call their lives. And they're good persuaders. And that's the reason why they have to take accountability for them being a person. They have to take responsibility for themselves, because Pisces are actually great leaders. They have to do right. They have to choose to do right. It's weird. It can go two ways. An unelevated Pisces could be so demure and so quiet and so passive that they almost make themselves invisible. Like I said, it's like you don't have an identity. Or you can take the unelevated Pisces who is more aggressive, probably has more Aries energy in them, who's more aggressive, who still doesn't take responsibility for their actions, but pistol whips you with their emotions and doesn't take responsibility for how their emotions affect you, who plays the victim card all the time. Then you have the Pisces who intentionally put themselves in victimizing situations because that's where they feel comfortable. And the unelevated Pisces will refuse to even acknowledge that they have some kind of power, because power equals responsibility. An unelevated Pisces doesn't see the worth that they have unless another person does. Now, an elevated Pisces is connected to God, whether they know it or not. Is connected to God, is connected to people, is just as sensitive, just as empathic, just as imaginative, but uses this ability to go higher and to look at the skies above and see the reflection of what's above and what's below, to the point where they're able to cope and live and be just as elusive, be just as dreamy without the use of something else, without the use of a narcotic, without the use of whatever. An elevated Pisces is a leader, a quiet leader. An elevated Pisces is a teacher. An elevated Pisces teaches you how to go with the flow. An elevated Pisces understands that everything is everything. After winter must come spring. An elevated Pisces understands that God is what makes things happen. But an elevated Pisces also understands that they are a representation of God, and they understand that they have the ability to create. They understand their power. They acknowledge their power. They accept their power, meaning that they accept responsibility for their life. They believe in something greater, but they accept that they do have some level of control. And because they accept that they have some level of control, this dreamy nature, their dreams, their ideas, they are able to make them into a reality in some way, shape, or form. Even if the only way they can make it into a reality is on a piece of paper, through a song. An elevated Pisces understands their sensitivity and understands that they can't afford to surround themselves with draining energies, with people who influence them to do negative things, because they understand that the boundary to the other realm and to other people's energies and auras and all that great stuff is so thin that they can fall into people's energy very easily, very quickly, and do things that they themselves wouldn't have wanted to do without the influence of someone else's energy. They develop a way to connect with themselves. An elevated Pisces has a motto. An elevated Pisces has a moral compass, so that when they step out into the world, they aren't swayed by the ways of the world. They're supposed to see different things and have different experiences and see the beauty in things that people aren't normally able to see. But an elevated Pisces always gets back on their path. An elevated Pisces doesn't overwhelm themselves with the woes of other people. An elevated Pisces doesn't take on the responsibilities of other people to distract themselves from their own responsibilities. An elevated Pisces needs their solitude so that they don't overwhelm themselves. An elevated Pisces takes this beautiful world that they have and carries it everywhere they go. Not in spite of the world around them, but to add to the world around them. But yes, that is our elevated versus unelevated water signs. I hope y'all enjoyed. Water signs, please comment below. If you have any water sign placements, comment below. Tell me if this helped. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. Tell me about some of the experiences that you've had with elevated versus unelevated water signs. Yeah, girl, thank you for watching. Love you, girl. Bye.
Nailyah Serenity, that's me.